Hey everybody, Doc MTG here, and today I want to bring to you my Omnath Locus of Rage EDH deck. I haven't upgraded this deck in a while actually, so if you guys have any suggestions, let me know in the comment section down below. And before we get started, don't forget to be subscribed to the channel, hit the like button down below, and share the content. It goes a super long way in supporting the channel. You can also support the channel by checking out my Patreon. I'll put a little card right up here. But Omnath. What is Omnath Locus of Rage? Well, for one, he costs 7, 3 double red and double green, and it's a legendary elemental. So this is kind of like a tribal deck, but it all has to go pretty much around landfall. So whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a 5/5 red and green elemental creature token onto the battlefield, and then whenever Omnath or another elemental you control dies, Omnath deals 3 damage to target creature or player, and he's a 5/5. Pretty beefy. So as with any land deck, this deck has a lot of land. It has approximately 40 lands, and we're gonna go over most of them right now. So first up, we have Command Tower. We have a Keswick Wolf Run, which is a nice utility land because some of our creatures don't have trample, so this is the one way we'll give them trample, and we'll give them a nice energy power boost. We have Wreck Tower, because we want to make sure we have no maximum hand size. Ghost Quarter. Temple of the False God has a little bit of ramp. Chun Panorama to go fetching for color sources. Mirrored Landscape. Terramorphic Expanse. Evolving Wilds. Blighted Woodland. Vivid Crag. Moss Warp Bridge is pretty cool because a hideaway land, and pretty much is what hideaway is. This land enters the battlefield tapped. When it does, look at the top 4 cards of your library, exile one of them face down, and put the rest at the bottom of your library, which is actually really beneficial because the way you'll be able to unhide the hideaway land is you tap a green and you tap the land itself. You may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost if creatures you control have total power 10 or greater, which is pretty easy with just Omnath and one of the elemental tokens. Highland Weird, Gruul Guildgate, Timber Gorge, Shivan Oasis, Rugged Highlands, Temple of Abandoned Scryland, Gruul Turf, Copperline Gorge, Game Trail, Rootbound Crag, and now we're going to move into our basics, which we have a total of 18 basics, 5 mountains, and 13 forests. We need more forests because we have a lot of green stuff in the deck. So let's just put the lands to the side, and I'll grab the next part of the deck. We have 20 creatures in this deck, and sorry guys, my hands are a little dirty. I was doing a little painting around the house. So we have Solemn for 4. You get an artifact creature that when it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card, put that card onto the battlefield tapped, and if you do, shuffle your library, and then when it dies, you get to draw a card. Everybody knows this card. This is actually the original art. Next, we have an Org Battle Driver. For 2 and double red, you get an Org Warrior. That's a 3/3. But it says whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, that creature gets +2/+0 and gains haste until end of turn. Pretty much whenever one of those landfall triggers happen off of Omnath, you'll get a hasty 7/5 elemental creature token. Sylvan Caryatid. For 1 and green, you get to fix up your mana, and it's a 0/3, nice little defender, and it has hexproof. Lotus Cobra also works really well with landfall. It helps you ramp your mana. For 2 and a green, you get a 2/1 snake, but landfall says whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, you may add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Next up, we have the Flip Nissa. Nissa Vastwood Seer. For 2 and a green, you get a 2/2 elf, which is Nissa. So whenever she enters the battlefield under control, you may search your library for a forest card, reveal it, and put it into your hand and shuffle your library. But whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, if you control 7 or more lands, exile Nissa and return her to the battlefield transformed. Transformed as Nissa Seer Animus. Because she is a 3 loyalty Planeswalker, her abilities are +1, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land, put it onto the battlefield, otherwise put it into your hand. So she's good for card advantage for 1. Or -2, put a legendary 4/4 green elemental creature token named Aisha, the Awakened World, onto the battlefield. Also, if it dies, obviously if Omnath's on the battlefield, it gets to deal 3 damage. And then Nissa's -7 is untap up to 6 target lands. They become 6/6 elemental creature tokens. They're still lands. Again, elementals are a powerful tribe. We have good old Rec Stage here to destroy artifacts or enchantments when it enters the battlefield. Ewit is for recursion. Courser Crufix. Pretty sweet card. If you've never heard of it before, it's for 1 and double green. You get a enchantment creature Centaur for 2 and 4. Has a nice big butt, just like in the picture. Play with the top card of your library revealed. You may play the top card of your library if it's a land, and then whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. Next up, we have Undergrowth Champion for 1 double green. You get a 2/2 elemental that says if damage will be dealt to Undergrowth Champion, while it has a 1/1 counter on it, prevent that damage and remove 1/1 counter from Undergrowth Champion. And its landfall ability, which is right there on the bottom, is whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on Undergrowth Champion. This is a proxy of Titania, because I still don't have one for myself, kind of sad. But if I get her in focus, I'll go ahead and read her. Saying that's focus. So you get a legendary creature elemental that's a 5/3 that says whenever Titania enters the battlefield, return target land card from your graveyard to the battlefield, and then whenever a land you control is put into a graveyard, put a 5/3 green elemental creature token onto the battlefield. We have good old Acidic Slime for some good old land destruction. Rampaging Balefs for 4 and double green. You get a 6/6 Trample Beast with landfall that says whenever land enters the battlefield under control, put a 4/4 green beast creature token onto the battlefield. There's a lot of lands coming in because we have 40 of them. Green Warden of Marasa for 4 and double green. You get a bigger, fatter Eternal Witness, but it has a nice little creature type on it if you see it. It's an elemental, so it also corresponds with anything that Omnath does. Good old Aurum Reef Hydra can't have an EDH deck in green without a Hydra lurking in the mist. But this Hydra has landfall. So for 4 and double green, you get a 5/5 trample landfall Hydra. That landfall ability says whenever a land enters the battlefield under control, put a 1/1 counter on Aurum Reef Hydra. If that land is a forest, put 2 1/1 counters on the Hydra instead. Now this card actually was the last, I think, upgrade I did to this deck, but it's a Regal Behemoth for 4 and double green. You get a 5/5 lizard that has trample. But it says whenever it enters the battlefield, this does one thing that I think makes things a little bit more political and fun. You become the monarch. But it also says whenever you tap a land for mana while you're the monarch, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Good source of ramp, and if you have big enough beefy creatures, you're going to be the monarch for quite a bit. We have good old Avenger of Zendikar. And if you guys don't know what he does, I'll go ahead and read him right now. So for 5 and double green, you get an elemental 5/5 creature that says whenever Avenger of Zendikar enters the battlefield, put a 0/1 plant creature token onto the battlefield for each land you control. That's a lot. And you'll understand why that's a lot a little bit later. I'll break it down with one of the enchantments I have. And then its landfall ability is whenever a land enters the battlefield under control, you may put a 1/1 counter on each plant token you control. And there's ways to put multiple lands onto the battlefield in a turn. We have the good old Guild Mage. This is just to give our creatures trample. Nina and Den Wildborn are to help us play additional lands each turn. And also giving our creatures trample by paying a red and a green, return the land you control to your hand, and target creature gains trample until end of turn. And if that was your first land drop, you can go ahead and put that land right back onto the battlefield and have Omnath create another token if he's out. Good old Rumble Hulk, or Ramble Hulk, but no, it's Rumble Hulk. For 4 red and a green, you get Elemental that says its power and toughness are equal to the lands you control, but it also has Blood Rush. For 1, a green and a red, discard the Hulk. Target attacking creature gets +X until end of turn, where X is the number of lands you control. So if one of your sneaky plants gets through, go ahead and beef it up. And then we have good old Dragon Lord Atarka. Because one thing we don't have a lot in this deck is flying, and this is the biggest, fattiest flyer in the Gruul colors that you can have. We have 9 artifacts in the deck, and here we go. You get Explorer's Scope for 1. You get an equipment that says whenever equip the creature attacks, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped with an equip cost of 1. Amulet of Vigor. This actually helps with all the tap lands that we have in the deck, because for 1, whenever a permanent enters the battlefield under your control tapped, untap it. Good old Soul Ring for all the beefy big creatures we have to cast. Swiftfoot Boots to give haste. Sword of the Animist. This is also a great way to get lands out of your deck. For 2, you get a legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, and then whenever equipped creature attacks, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and shuffle your library. The equip cost is 2. Darksteel Ingot for some good old color fixin' mana rock. We have Seer's Sundial for 4. You get an artifact that has landfall, and the landfall trigger says whenever a land enters the battlefield under control, you may pay 2, and if you do, draw a card. We have the good old Mage Slayer for 1 a red and a green. You get an equipment that says whenever equipped creature attacks, it deals damage equal to its power to a defending player. The equip cost is 3. By the way, this works with commander damage. And then we have Hammer of Purphoros. For 1 double red, creatures you control have haste. Because why not have them have haste? Why not? Tell me. Why not have these 5/5 elementals that come in with Omnath have haste? Only 1 Planeswalker in this build, and that's Xenagos the Reveler. For 2, a red and a green, just like Arlen. I'm not sure if I want to put Arlen in here or if I want to put Samu, because they're pretty much all the same CMC, but you get Xenagos. His +1 is add X mana in any combination of red or green to your mana pool, where X is the number of creatures you control. His 0 ability helps put out a chump blocker, kind of like Gideon. You put out a 2/2 red and green Satar token with haste onto the battlefield, and his -6 is where things get a little crazy. It's exile top 7 cards of your library. You may put any number of creature and or land cards from among them onto the battlefield. There's a lot of creatures in this deck, there's a lot of land in this deck. You're going to be hitting a lot of it. Omnath runs 2 measly instant spells, and that's Gruul Charm for red and green. You get to choose 1. Creatures without flying can't block this turn. Or gain control of all permanents you own. Or it deals 3 damage to each creature with flying. There's a nice little air board wipe. And next we have Crows and Grip. We all know what this does, and it has split second. Destroy target artifact or equipment. 15 sorceries occupy Omnath. We have Savage Twister for X of red and a green. Savage Twister deals X damage to each creature, and with all the mana you're going to have, you can pretty much afford a wipe. Hall Breach. For a brand of green, you get to choose one. Destroy target artifact, or destroy target enchantment, or destroy target artifact and enchantment. Pretty much you're going to go for the third one in a multiplayer game because you're going to destroy somebody's soul ring and some other pesky enchantment that you don't like. Animus Awakening. For X and a green, reveal the top X cards of your library, put all land cards from among them onto the battlefield tapped and the rest at the bottom of your library in a random order. But there's spell mastery. If there are 2 or more instants or sorceries in your graveyard, those lands come in untapped. Rapid Growth, Kodama's Reach, Cultivate. This is Pilgrimage. All this pretty much ramping, ramp. Explosive Vegetation, Sky Shroud Claim, Ranger's Path. Alright, those are all ramp spells. Oh my god. Next we have Harmonize. For 2 and a double green, draw 3 cards. We have Primal Command. For 3 and double green, you get to choose 2. Target player gains 7 life. Put target non-land creature permanent on the top of its owner's library. It's a nice little time walk. Target player shuffles his or her graveyard into her library. Nice little way to stop any graveyard shenanigans. And then lastly, search your library for a creature card, reveal it, and put it into your hand and shuffle your library. When you need to get, let's say, something game winning out like Dragonlord Tarka to get onto the battlefield. You have Shamanic Revelation. This is actually quite broken when you have an army of 5/5 elementals because it says draw a card for each creature you control, but its ferocious trigger is gain 4 life for each creature you control with power 4 or greater. We have Nissa's Renewal, which also helps us gain life because we are a slow, rampy deck that just wants to play all the big spells in the world. But you search your library for 3 basic lands, put them onto the battlefield tapped, and then gain 7 life. And lastly, we have Verdant Confluence. For 4 and double green, you get to choose 3. You may choose the same one more than once. Put 2 1/1 counters on target creature, return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand, or search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and shuffle your library. Another ramp spell, guys. All about the ramp. And the last 12 cards are enchantments, because the enchantments actually supplement and help Omnath get up faster, because we have something like this little thing right here, and that is Exploration. For a green, you get an enchantment that says you may play an additional land on each of your turns. Get this down turn 1, and man, you're going to be ramping up fast. Evolutionary Leap. For 1 and green, you get to pay green, sacrifice a creature, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card, and put that card into your hand, put the rest at the bottom of the library in a random order. So pretty much what you're doing with this is you're sacking your elemental tokens after they attack or something, and then you deal 3 damage of Omnaths out, and you go get another creature that's actually a creature and not in a token. We have Heart Exploration. For 1 and green, an enchantment with landfall that says whenever a land enters the battlefield under control, put a quest counter on the heart. Then when you get 3 quest counters on the heart, you sack it, you search your library for 2 basic lands and put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. We have Retreat to Kazandu. For 2 and a green, another landfall triggering enchantment. You get to choose one. You either get to put a 1/1 counter on target creature, or you get to gain 2 life. We have Elemental Bond that says whenever a creature with power 3 or greater enters the battlefield under our control, which a lot of them are pretty much 3 or greater, draw a card. We have Mighty Emergence. This is probably one that a lot of people haven't seen, but I kind of like scoped it out, like searching sites and stuff like that. And it's for 2 and a green. You get an enchantment that says whenever a creature with power 5 or greater comes into the battlefield under your control, put 2 1/1 counters on it. So those elemental tokens that are gonna come down from Omnath are gonna come in as 7/7s. Jeez. Dendikar's Royal. For 3 and double green, you get an enchantment that says whenever a land enters the battlefield under control, put a 2/2 green elemental creature token onto the battlefield. Perforos. If you guys know who Perforos is, I know a lot of you do, because whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. And he can be a creature that's indestructible, which is pretty rad. We're Ancient's Tread for 4 and a red. You get an enchantment, obviously, that says whenever a creature with power 5, again that power 5 thing is quite relevant, or greater comes into play under your control, you may have Wear Ancient's Tread, deal 5 damage to target creature or player. Man, this is like a ramp burn deck. And then we have Warstorm Surge. For 5 and a red, you get whenever a creature enters the battlefield under control, it deals damage equal to its power to target creature or player. We have Fires of Yavimaya for 1, a red and a green. Creatures you control have haste, and you could sacrifice the enchantment to get +2/+2 to all your creatures. No, sorry. You get +2/+2 to target creature until end of turn. And then another god that we have to have in this deck, because this is one of the more overpowered gods, is Xenagos. Yes, he was here as a Planeswalker, but he's also in here as a god, because at the beginning of combat on your turn, another target creature you control gains haste and gets +X/+X, where X is that creature's power. So yeah, you drop a land, cool. Let's say Xenagos not a creature, cool, but Omnath's out, you'll get that 5/5, and at the beginning of combat, you'll give it +5/+5, and haste, it's a 10/10, swinging at whichever opponent you want. So that's my Omnath EDH deck tech. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Let me know what kind of deck techs you guys want to see in the future, more EDH or whatnot. But don't forget to hit that little subscribe button right there in that corner. And as always, guys, this is Doc MTG saying peace.